Good morning, eighth graders. I hope everybody is doing great today and ready to start a brand new week, a brand new unit. It's the official second half of the trimester, so kind of a fresh start all the way around. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we are just going to be introducing The Outsiders, and then we're going to start reading tomorrow since today is such a crazy short day. All right, so first things first, what's going on this week? It's pretty blank right now. Your slide decks will be used quite a bit, as will, the videos, okay? Because that's where like all the action's going to happen. There's not a lot of extra links, but I will be putting some in later today as we start reading. Okay, so our book talk today is The Outsiders. It's also banned book week, and The Outsiders has actually been banned quite a lot. So that's why I chose to talk about it today. So banned books, what that basically means is that somebody is trying to decide for other people what they should and shouldn't read. So I feel everybody should be able to read what they choose. Parents should be able to decide whether their kids should read a book or not, but other parents don't need to be deciding for other people what their kids should read. Okay, and banned books are still a big debate, a big thing, but it is National Banned Book Week. So we're going to just talk about banned books all week for our book talks. So here is this copy of The Outsiders, and if your copy looks different, no big deal. And if the page numbers are different, it's not a big deal, because we're basically going to be reading a chapter a day starting tomorrow. So why was The Outsiders banned multiple times? There's actually a lot of reasons. There's fighting in the book, there's crime, there's some mention of drugs and violence, there's the death of the character, and unchristian values. So that's why that book has been banned for many, many years. Not everywhere, obviously. Okay, so The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. If you do not have a copy of the book, please try to get one for your eyes' sake, and just for having a book is so much better than reading on a screen. But if you don't have one, I will be giving you a way to access it on the computer. So if you don't have one, don't freak out, don't get anxiety over it or anything like that, but try to get one. And you can go into Ike today, tomorrow, and ask the front office if Mrs. Ivy is available to check one out to you, and she should be there every day from 9 to 3:30. Okay, so S.E. Hinton, that's the author. So her name is Susan Eloise Hinton. She wrote the book. She actually started it when she was 15. She got it published when she was 16, a high school junior. And ironically, that year that she was writing this book, she failed her creative writing class. They used her initials, S.E., instead of her name, for fear that boys wouldn't want to read the book if they knew it was written by a girl. They wouldn't think it was as relatable. It was a massive success when it came out. It sold over 15 million copies and was translated into 30 languages. It was also made into a movie. Something else interesting about this is that she was inspired to write the book by things that she saw going on in her own town, okay? And she wrote it after one of her friends got beat up. So that's how the inspiration for the story came. My mom grew up about the same time as she did, and I think my mom would have been a greaser, and you're like, what is that? And so many of the things in the book I have heard about, like from my mom, or some of the ways that they talk or things like that when she talks about when she was a kid. So that's pretty interesting. S.E. Hinton was known as the voice of the youth. With success comes pressure. She became really depressed. She got a bad case of writer's block that lasted 3 years. Her boyfriend, who now is her husband, grew tired of her depression and sadness and made her write 2 pages a day if she wanted to go out. Okay, and sometimes that's just what it takes, and that is what it took with her. So eventually, that led to her next book. That was Then, This Is Now. That book won many awards. It is really good too. I have a feeling a lot of you are going to want to read that after we finish The Outsiders. So what is the book about? So there's 2 groups of kids, as there often are, or more. There's the greasers. The greasers are poor. They're kind of rough around the edges. They cuss, they drink, they smoke. Their parents aren't really around. That's what absentee parents means. And their futures are doubtful. They don't really feel like they have much to look forward to. Probably no one in their family went to college or even graduated high school. So they're just kind of have had a really rough life so far. Socias, on the other hand, they're like the rich kids. They're popular, they're athletic, they're clean cut, they're spoiled, they have bright futures. They don't doubt that they'll go to college and be taken care of and go on to be successful. So it's these two different groups of kids and their rivalries. Something you might want to look at when you get a chance is this 60s entertainment. This book was written in the 60s. So these are just a few video clips, one of Elvis Presley, one of the Beatles, that were both very popular back then and are mentioned in the book. Okay, so the novel overview, besides being about the rich socias versus the poor greasers, because that is the conflict between the two groups is a major part of the story. It is also about identity, defining who we are ourselves instead of letting society and our social groups define us. It's about the circumstances that people are born into and how it can shape them. So just basically like how the family you're born into, the life you're born into. Okay. It's about stereotypes, which is people judging you before they know you. And that's something that obviously still goes on today. It's about friendship, big time. And it's about youth idealism, seeing the wrongs in society and not knowing how to fix them. So you see all these things that are wrong, you want to fix them, you want to make the world a better place, but not always knowing how to go about that. So the story is told from the point of view of Ponyboy, who is 14 and a greaser, a book smart greaser. So he's a greaser, but he does well in school. He's smart. His real name is indeed Ponyboy. You'll get used to it. Ponyboy lives with his two older brothers, Soda Pop and Dairy. Again, you'll get used to it. The boy's parents were killed in a car crash. They're now orphans and struggle to stick together in their lower class neighborhood known as the East Side. Chapter 1 begins with Ponyboy walking home from the movies. He gets jumped by the socias. And jumped means like kind of beat up and stuff like that. So there's some language that you might not understand in here at first, but we're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow and things like that. Okay, so now you kind of have an idea of what the story is. Tomorrow we are going to talk about some of the vocabulary in the book and dialect, and then we're also going to be reading the first chapter. So that is that. I hope you guys are excited. I think I told you this is one of my all-time favorite books. And I know that I don't know, but almost every student that I've had has loved it. Even though it was written like 50 years ago, it is still very relevant today. So anyway, that's that. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. If you did not get your essay done or your weekly your weekly checkout done, you need to be working on that. Your essay is due by midnight tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be late, so you don't want that. Okay, have an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.